Alright, guys, welcome to First and Goal Week 9, guys. Alright, I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Alright, guys, so, look, not going to give you guys the daily rundown as for who ended up winning, who ended up losing. Can just tell you guys to look that up yourself, because I'm going to make this very short and sweet. Look, if anybody watched Sunday Night Football, we are all anticipating the matchup between Tampa Bay versus New Orleans, the Buccaneers versus the Saints, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. We ended up seeing both of those quarterbacks play, but one of them showed up, the other one didn't. Okay? Is it fair to say that Tom Brady is starting to look his age? Is it fair to say that he's starting to look like an early 40-year-old? Because you know what? It's okay. Nobody defeats Father Time. Nobody defeats Father Time. At one point last year, we were asking ourselves, hey, is it time for Drew Brees to possibly hang it up because he no longer has that zip in his passes? And he made the adjustments and he's making it work. This guy is not going to bomb like a 40-yard pass. He's not going to bomb a 50-yard pass, Drew Brees. This guy is very on top of his craft. He's very precise. He wants to make sure that his route runners are going to be on point. That's why he has great continuity with Michael Thomas. That's why he is developing rapport with Emmanuel Sanders. Tom Brady, I don't know. I don't know with him. Look, it's okay for him to feel like he is getting older. I know there is a guy on TV that says that Tom Brady has fallen off a cliff, and I don't know if I'm on that side yet. I don't know if I'm on that bandwagon saying that Tom Brady is falling off, but I think it's fair to say that we should bring up that conversation, shouldn't we? Because the way he looked on Sunday, primetime game, everyone watches Sunday Night Football, all right? You have Chris Collinsworth, all right, and Al Michaels calling the game. Two great guys calling the game. And it was just a beating. I have never seen a Tom Brady team, whether it was in Tampa, and in the 9 games that he's been in uniform with them, or in his 20-year career with the New England Patriots. I have never seen a game where he got beaten up that bad. Look, I'm going to give you guys the stats. Ronald Jones was their leading rusher. 3 carries for 9 yards. That should say a lot right there. 3 carries for 9 yards. Why is it that Tampa only ended up running the football 5 times? Ronald Jones had 3 carries. Leonard Fournette had 1 carry. And then you had Blaine Gabbert running the ball once for -1 yards. It is completely unacceptable. You had Tom Brady almost throwing the ball 40 times. He threw the ball 38 times for 209 yards. Look, I'm going to tell you guys, there was three receivers that had 6 targets. No, I'm sorry, 4 receivers. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, and Rob Gronkowski. Behind those 4, Antonio Brown came in 5th with 5 targets. After that, it was Ronald Jones, Scotty Miller, and then you had Tyler Johnson. I felt like he was trying to force the ball with Rob Gronkowski. Understandable. Played with him for 8-9 years, maybe even longer, something around that ballpark. Don't get mad at me if I'm off by a couple years or not. It's something along that ballpark, and he already has built great rapport with him. Is able to understand, hey, Gronk needs to be over here. Gronk understands I need to get to this point from point A to point B in this amount of time, because Tom's gonna he's gonna receive the ball, and he's gonna fire it in this direction, and I gotta be here in time. Fine, I understand that, but he really gotta start passing that ball to the open receiver. And what I ended up seeing is that he was not going through his progressions, properly. This guy had, Mike Evans, all right? Mike Evans was open way too many times, all right? And there's been a number of games where Mike Evans, has had a very low number of targets. If not targets, he a low number of receptions. Look, in his last 5 games, right? Mike Evans had 5 receptions with Chicago. He had 1 reception with Green Bay, 2 receptions with the Raiders, 5 receptions with the Giants, 4 receptions with New Orleans. The game with the Packers, he only had 2 targets. The game with the Bears, he had 9 targets. Understandable. The game with the Raiders, 2 targets. Giants, 7 targets. Saints, 6 targets. Honestly, I think Mike Evans, he's one of those guys that is a big play receiver. Give him the ball. I know that Tom was trying to get Antonio Brown into the bigs, but look, you can't expect somebody. It doesn't matter how good of a player he is. You can't expect somebody to get on board within a few days. Doesn't matter if he played with you in that one game in New England. It takes time to build rapport. It takes time to get, you to understand where your receiver needs to be. Because he's got to understand how fast you're going to throw that football. Chris Godwin didn't do anything. He had no impact. Mike Evans, I saw that he was open. He could have had an impact. Could have used Scotty Miller. You could have used Leonard Fournette a little bit more. You could have run the football with Ronald Jones. I understand you were down at one point, but you gotta at least change it up. As for the Saints, that Saints were doing work. Taysom Hill. This guy is like the real life, Swiss Army knife. This guy can pass, he can throw, he can receive. He was doing sweeps too. This guy's everything that you want in a football player. If Tim Tebow was going to be anybody to be successful in the National Football League, it would be Taysom Hill. It would instantly be Taysom Hill. And Taysom Hill has 7 receptions, 54 yards. He ended up 7 carries for 54 yards. This guy had 1 reception for 21 yards. Yeah, this guy's a Swiss Army knife. And then Michael Thomas doing his thing. 5 receptions, 51 yards. Emmanuel Sanders catching that great touchdown pass by Drew Brees. He had 4 receptions for 38 yards. And then you had Latavius Murray running the ball, 39 rushing yards on 10 carries. Alvin Kamara, 9 carries for 40 yards. And that Saints defense was just locking everybody up. They were doing their thing. I don't know. If they come in contact with one another, if they meet in the playoffs, you guys got to favor the Saints. Tom Brady looks like he just can't handle. He's not in the same class with the Saints. Many of us were picking the Bucks. Hey, they're gonna win it all. They're gonna win it all. They get Antonio Brown even better. But one game, fine. It might be a fluke. 2 games, I don't think so. In the same season, nah. The Buccaneers have way too many playmakers. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. You have Ronald Jones and a Leonard Fournette in the backfield. You got a defense, led by Levante David, then Ndamukong Suh. I don't know, guys. It just doesn't seem like the Bucs are gonna be able to go far if Tom Brady is gonna struggle against better competition. And the Saints are good, if not great, competition. Look, many people are picking them to possibly represent the NFC. I'm still picking the Seattle Seahawks. I just don't see the Buccaneers beating the New Orleans Saints, especially if they meet in the playoffs. Tom Brady got to get it together. That's all I'm going to say. He needs to get it together. He's starting to look in his early 40s, and what can you do at this point? He's got to get a better feel. And that offensive line, come on, guys. You guys got to do your work. You guys are paid to block. Make sure that pocket doesn't collapse. Guys got to do your things. All right. Next topic, second down. The Jets almost pull off the upset against the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football. Man, I was watching this game, and I'm like, man, there's no Sam Darnold here. Like I said in the last episode, I still feel like Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, and I still feel that way, even though the Giants ended up beating Washington this past weekend. But Joe Flacco ended up, coming in and starting for the New York Jets, and he did his thing. I mean, I think he came 10th all time in passing yards. With he ended up passing Brett Favre after he ended up connecting with Bernard Perriman on that 50-yard bomb. But yeah, the Jets were up at one point 20-10, and we're all thinking, I was like, really? Really, the Jets are going to beat the Patriots? Nah, the Jets can't beat the Patriots. And then in my head, I'm thinking, Bill Belichick, this mad scientist, this evil genius, the one thing I'm thinking of is like, this guy might want to lose on purpose. And hear me out on this. He might want to lose on purpose just because if he forces the Jets to win, and let's say the Jets only beat the Patriots, right? That means they have 2 wins. The Patriots can just lose the remaining part of the season. And then, depending on the outcome of the other teams, let's say the Patriots and the Jets have the worst record, the Patriots would have the number 1 overall pick because they have lost the Jets twice, which means that they could possibly get Trevor Lawrence. And that's what was going through my head when I was watching the game. I was like, this guy's an evil genius. But that didn't happen because the Jets ended up losing. The Patriots ended up winning. Nick Folk ended up hitting the game-winning field goal as time expired, forcing the Patriots to walk out as victors, leaving MetLife Stadium, avoiding the embarrassment. And I just felt like maybe Bill Belichick ended up changing his mind at the very last minute. Be like, nah, we can't afford to lose to a winless team. So I'm thinking, wow, who's worse, the Jets or the Patriots? I don't know, because Cam Newton does not have any receivers to pass the football to. I mean, this guy had 2 rushing touchdowns, and I've been seeing that often that, Cam Newton is running the football more than passing. I mean, he had 274 yards passing. I mean, Jacoby Myers had 12 receptions for 169 yards. You had Damian Harris run the football for 14 carries and 71 yards, but no receiving touchdowns. And I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous, Cam Newton only has 2 touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. 2 passing touchdowns. His last passing touchdown was on September 27th against the Las Vegas Raiders. He threw 1 touchdown. So this man went through the Broncos, the 49ers, the Bills, and the Jets. All right, 4 games without having a passing touchdown. I think this is maybe like the first time ever in Cam Newton's career that he's ever gotten that long without throwing a passing touchdown. That is crazy. So Cam Newton is accumulating his touchdowns by running the football. So now teams are going to know that, passing wise, the Patriots suck. Gotta say it. Cam Newton has 7 interceptions. 7 interceptions. He's tied second for that. His QBR for the year is 55.4. And he's only thrown the ball, a little over 1,400 yards. It's not so good, considering that the Patriots played 8 games. 8 games, and he only has 2 passing touchdowns, and he has 7 INTs. I don't know, guys. I mean, look, the Jets could have easily won the game, all right? And then, in perfect Jet fashion, they always find a way of effing it up. They F it up, and they just can't get out of their own demise. I don't know, guys. I mean, I don't know what Woody Johnson is doing right now, but he's got to get Adam Gase out of there. He's contaminating that locker room. He is building a culture that's saying that it is okay to lose. He is ruining Sam Darnold's career. He is ruining every single Jet player on that roster. And that is not okay. That's not okay. It's really not. But Noah Perriman is there. That's your best receiver. In real light fashion, I mean, this guy should be your number 3 receiver, and he's your number 1. All right. I don't know what's going to go on with the Jets. I mean, the Jets really need to fire Adam Gase and need to fire him ASAP. They shouldn't even allow him to sleep through the night knowing that he still has a job. They should just call him right now and be like, hey, wake up. I got some news to tell you. You're fired. Tell him that. He doesn't deserve to coach the team again. He doesn't even deserve to hold practice. Doesn't even deserve to hold practice. This guy's an embarrassment of a coach, all right? This guy should move far as way as possible out of New York, New Jersey, and anywhere in this metro area, because you know why? This guy's like a leech. Doesn't deserve to be part of this beautiful game called football. And that's what I have to say. I still feel like the Jets are still the worst team compared to the Patriots. But the Patriots, with the way that they ended up looking on Monday Night Football, they don't look that far. They don't look that much worse. They're not that far apart from the New York Jets. All right. Well, speaking of which, we have another New York team that we're going to talk about. Not the Giants. The one that actually plays in the state of New York. They play in Buffalo, guys. Buffalo, yes. The Buffalo Bills, yes, they are part of New York. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills ended up facing the Seattle Seahawks led by Russell Wilson. And that was such a crazy game. If you guys like offense, this is the game that you needed to watch. Seattle traveling to Buffalo. In my opinion, I felt like that always compromised the team that played out west. Coming out east, with the time difference, their internal body clock is already 3 hours behind. But Buffalo ends up winning the game 44-34. Russell Wilson didn't have so much of a great game, throwing 2 interceptions, passed the ball for 390 yards, and with 2 passing TDs. DK Metcalf did his thing, 7 receptions, 108 yards, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, it really wasn't enough. Yeah, Jacob Hollister doing his thing, 5 receptions for 60 yards. Tyler Lockett had a quiet game, 4 receptions for 40 yards. That to me would be considered quiet. Greg Olsen, 2 receptions for 13 yards. You can't expect much for him going into his final years of his career. Will Disley only had 1 reception for 26 yards. But that was about it. I mean, there wasn't much to it. There really wasn't much to it. And mind to tell you that, hey, Russell Wilson had 2 fumbles that he lost. So he had 4 turnovers, and that was a big difference. The turnover battle compared to Buffalo. Seattle lost that turnover battle. I mean, Russell Wilson, a rare day that he doesn't have control of the football, and led to Buffalo improving to 7-2. It looks like Buffalo is going to end up winning this division unless Miami is able to take the lead over Buffalo in the AFC East. So I'll be surprised. It'd be nice to see a new face outside of the Patriots constantly winning the AFC East. Josh Allen. Is this guy the real deal? 415 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. This guy ran the ball for an extra score by running the football for 14 yards. Passing the ball to his favorite target, in my opinion, Stephon Diggs. 9 receptions, 118 yards. This guy's a bad boy. I mean, he was targeted 12 times, caught 9 of his 12 targets. Then you got John Brown, 8 receptions, 1 yard short of 100 yards. Cole Beasley, 3 receptions for 39 yards. Devin Singletary, 3 receptions for 33 yards. Zach Moss, 2 receptions for 30 yards. And yeah, that Buffalo defense was crazy. You know, you got Edmonds with a sack. You had Addison with a sack. You had Hughes. Yes, Jerry Hughes with a sack. They were just bull rushing towards Russell Wilson, causing havoc. And yes, that Buffalo defense is no joke. I'm picking them. I'm going to say it right now after, 9 games that they ended up playing. Buffalo has a really strong chance of just winning this AFC East. I don't know about, how far they can advance, but it is a start. Buffalo looks like the real deal. Josh Allen looks like the real deal. I understand that he had a little bit of a sluggish, past couple games, but you know what? He looked alive in this one, and if he continues this type of performance right now, he, in my opinion, should be somebody that we should look at and say, hey, this guy is most improved player of the year. That shouldn't be hard to say. Wouldn't you agree, guys? Wouldn't you agree? All right, and lastly, 4th down. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, came back off of IR. Him and the Carolina Panthers ended up rolling into Kansas City to face Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Big Red Andy Reid. But Christian McCaffrey did his thing. But he ended up getting hurt. He hurt his ribs. And I don't know, guys. I mean, can we say that Christian McCaffrey is injury prone? I mean, he didn't miss a start the first, 3, seasons? 2 seasons? Comes into this season, gets hurt, misses 6 games, fine. Was placed on IR. Carolina was holding, their own for the most part. Had Mike Davis, this guy was running the rock pretty well. But then, first game back, comes in, isn't able to be in for the final play because Carolina was down by 2, and he gets hurt. I don't know. I mean, is Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers have to now watch on how they use Christian McCaffrey moving on forward? Is he fragile? Is he somebody that we should be concerned about? Look, guys, I mean, if you guys own Christian McCaffrey, he must have been, gracious. He must have been jumping for joy, saying, yes, finally, we have him on our fantasy football team, but he's hurt again. And I don't know if he's going to make it for Sunday's game. I mean, this guy did work. I mean, 69 yards rushing. He had a rushing TD. This guy had 10 targets, caught all 10 of his targets for 82 yards and a receiving touchdown. Yeah, I mean, look, this guy has great route running skills. This guy can run the football. This guy's a workhorse. He is everything that you want in the modern day back, but he's hurt. And is this somebody that we got to look out for? Because, look, the person that McCaffrey, resembles, he's always going to be linked up to is Saquon Barkley, because they both are very similar in their style of play. But Saquon Barkley's out. McCaffrey just got hurt again. What's going to happen with Christian McCaffrey? I mean, Carolina has next the Lions. I mean, they should be able to beat the Lions. The Lions are a horrible franchise. Then they go Then they go into Minnesota. Minnesota, led by Dalvin Cook. Honestly, that's a game that you might need Christian McCaffrey. Then after that, you have the Broncos. Then you really need Christian McCaffrey on December 20th against the Packers. Then Washington, and then lastly to close out the season, face their division rivals, the Atlanta Falcons. So I don't know, guys. I mean, CMC is definitely needed. It is not over, for the Panthers to make the playoffs. They have possibilities. They play hard. They're very competitive. But it may be time to make sure that you get Mike Davis enough reps for this week, just because you don't know if McCaffrey will be available. This guy is easily a top 3 back in the league, and he is pretty much that offense for the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, who knows if he's gonna play? I hope he plays. I hope he's healthy. It is a joy to watch him play on Sundays. And that's all I gotta say. Alright, guys, so I'm gonna close this statement out. Tom Brady is starting to look his age. Cam Newton and the Patriots need to be concerned just because they look really, really sluggish. They looked terrible, even though they won the game. There is possibility that they will be able to make the playoffs, just because I do have a lot of faith in Bill. Josh Allen, I mean, look, if this guy plays the way he is, I mean, this guy's going to be winning trophies. He's going to win Most Improved Player of the Year. He might win MVPs if he continues to play like this. He has this type of ceiling. He is not only just a running quarterback. This guy has a rocket of an arm. And Christian McCaffrey, I mean, this guy seems like he is injury prone going into this year, missing 6 games, potentially might have to miss a 7th game. What does Carolina have to do moving forward? I mean, this guy is your franchise, so something to be talked about. All right, guys. Until then, I'm your host, Flavo Ariana, and thank you for watching First and Goal. Please hit that like and subscribe button and tune in for week 10 of First and Goal. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, guys.